Mass refugee exodus from Syria to Europe. Murat Gazdiev reports.
Well, the takeaway really was that the Islamic State is not going to go away by itself. It isn't going to be eradicated by US-led airstrikes, but the Islamic State isn't going to be destroyed by local forces either. It's simply grown too powerful to be contained locally. No, what it's going to take to bring the Islamic State down for good is everyone working together.
We need to put aside geopolitical ambitions, abandon double standards, the policy of using terrorist groups in order to achieve certain purposes, including the overthrow of unwanted regimes.
And that means, for once, putting aside personal interests, national interests for the common good. It means the East and the West working together. It means bringing Kurds into the fold, the Syrian opposition, that is, even the Syrian government, which at the end of the day is by far the most competent ground force, actually not only talking about it, but actually keeping the Islamic State at bay as best as it can.
We support and will continue to support the Syrian government in its fight against terror. It's impossible to drive Islamic State out of the country and the whole region without the active participation of the Syrian government and military.
Vladimir Putin also revealed that the Syrian government is ready to work with moderate Syrian opposition to come together into this coalition to fight the Islamic State. But the Russian president also addressed these recent accusations that this tide of migrants that is swamping Europe is actually Russia's fault. The argument goes that Russia, by helping the Syrian government, is prolonging the war and thus allowing the jihadists, the Islamic State, to become stronger. Whoever came up with that argument, though, obviously didn't take into account that the vast majority of refugees are coming from places like Afghanistan, like Iraq, Libya, all countries that have been victims, targets of Western military action in recent years.
Refugees from Syria are fleeing a war imposed from outside. Without Russia's support for Syria, the flow of refugees would have been bigger, and the situation would be worse than in Libya.
The United States has been especially enthusiastic to blame everything on Russia. Samantha Powers, the UN Security Council representative from Washington, being the latest to parrot this argument. Perhaps ironic, considering that most Islamic State propaganda videos feature them driving Humvees left over from the Iraq War.